there's loads and loads of things that I want to show you. And then I fix something and I don't show you. And it's probably annoying that I do this quite a lot. But it's mainly because once I get started on something, I want to fix it. But I'm going to show you something really, really important. And it's to do with this little badger here called my Minipro. Yeah? So I've got a Dataman, which is a better programmer than a Minipro. But this has got a really, really useful tool on it. So let me explain this board to you. So just lie it down carefully on there a minute. So in the bottom corner, this one says, solid status, traces okay. Don't know if that's 95. I don't know. It's written U4 on it. U5, U4, somebody's written on it. U3. They're probably barking up the wrong tree, unfortunately. I'll have to edit that out. Right. So, I'll explain a couple of things. So when somebody said bad traces, the traces run from there to there. Now, these two sockets here, you put your sound in and you put your game card, your game ROM in. But you can put your game ROM into there on a dual card, but your processor needs to be in one of these two for it to work, okay? Now, if you can follow me. So, traces here on there. So let's say that you've got a bank of 3 there, not the clearest. And then you work your way across. The bank of 3 is the same there, but it isn't there because your middle pins all the way down go from one to the other. They don't go across. Whereas your outside ones, them ones, would jump to there, to there, to there, and then they go off into the board. When you get a solid status light on a JPM Impact, it's because the board isn't reading all of the lines on the ROM. That's effectively what's happening. Or a line's jammed. But generally speaking, you'll see some boards with jumper wires underneath from there to there because something's gone bad on the socket. It happens. Sometimes processor will work in there, won't work in there because the trace between the two is cut and you need to go and find it. Continuity and find where it's not buzzing. Not as time consuming as you think it is. Probably takes me about 2 minutes to go through and check all my sockets. Anyway, digressing a little bit. So, I had this one under, so this one here, I had this chip with my logic probe, and I was getting, obviously, the solid status light here, and down, as we look at it, down the left-hand side of this chip here, or when your board's booting, all of these should be high-low pulsing. Now, U14 controls your real optos, yeah, it does. Real optos are controlled in there, and a couple of other things as well. And they're also heavily linked into U9. Anyway, that's switch matrix in that corner. But the two pins that were misbehaving, so there we go. So the third one up and the fourth one up here, so that one and that one, weren't high-low pulsing. They were misbehaving. Something odd was happening with them. One of them was trying to high-low pulse, and it was kind of really, really fast, and it wasn't how it should be. And the other one was just misbehaving. I think it was high pulsing. So I know through working previously on these boards that the third pin there, that one there, goes into U5, which is there, and it goes up here somewhere, one of these traces. And then the pin above it, so 1, 2, 3, 4 and up, goes into the other side of U5. Now, you can't, unfortunately, test U5 in a Minipro. Doesn't let you. There's no way. So, what I did is I got a board that was a bit ropey looking, and I socketed U10 and U5 so that I can test them to an extent, not fully, but to an extent, on my table in this board. So I can test them. Or I'd probably put this board in a machine actually and test them in a machine. But to know if, for example, my solid status light was being caused by U5, I would know whether it was being caused by U5, because if I put it into this board and I was getting a solid status light, that would mean it was U5 causing it. That's probably more what I mean. So, take that one away for a minute, because we don't need that anymore. And then we'll take this away as well. Just stand it up a minute because I'm working on it. So, if we look here at my Minipro, the chip that I have taken out of there, which is a 74541, it's pretty common. There's two of these, so both U14 and U9 out of this chip. Sat on this here. Okay, so obviously I don't know which of the two is causing the problem, so I can verify this or not verify this by using the Minipro. So if I go into devices and I go into Logic IC test, I'll give you a clue. If you hit auto find, one of two things: either the chip it can't be read, which I know this chip can be read because all the ones that start in 7 pretty much can be read. So if I hit auto find there and it goes, I can't find it, chips are not recognized, it usually means it's bad. But I'm going to confirm that. So 74541, that's the chip. And I'm going to hit test. Now, if it works, everything is going to remain black on here. If it doesn't work, some or all of it will go red, or a lot of it will go red. So let me show you. Test failed. Vector testing failed, and that one there is red. Okay, run it again. Doesn't change, it's always broken. So I know that that chip is bad based on that reading, because nothing should fail. And hopefully I'll swap that out, and then hopefully, instead of getting us 2 solid lights, hopefully it'll just behave and flash. But I'll bring you back and try and show you. Okay? So we've found another one. A log pile of chips there. And then we hit test. And we know that one is behaving, that is good. So throw that one in. So I've got a logic probe connected to it now. The chip's been replaced. I'm going to flip the switch. I don't know what it's going to do, but let's find out together. So turn it on. And then 5-6 seconds later, your status light comes on. There you go. And then it'll either go red still, solid, or it'll flash. Or it'll do nothing. And there's something else wrong with it as well, potentially. But no, it's flashing. Right, let me show you. So, what I was saying to you earlier. So, right. So if I probe on here, I should be high-low pulsing. Oh, there we go. So high-low pulse. And then the same should appear there. High-low pulsing. And there, pulsing. All the way up that side of the chip. Now when I started looking at the board, which admittedly I didn't show you, which is typical of me, it wasn't doing that. So now that board's booting on a table. That doesn't mean that's free of faults. It doesn't mean it will definitely fully work, or if it doesn't mean a great deal at this point, because there's so many other things that may need looking at. But there you go. It's booting on a table again, and it wasn't when I started looking at it half an hour ago. So no solid light, got a flashing light, so it wasn't a bad U5, which is good. It was actually a bad U14 that was stopping it from booting.
Kebab! Oh, hot sauce!